tichazara moto seZimbabwe. Vanomanikidzana sizvezinga vanomanikidzana sizvezinga vanomanikidza povo vanomanikidza povo zvezinga tichazara moto seMugugwa anditese Zimbabwe Mugugwa tichazara moto seMugugwa tichazara moto seZvimbabwe tichazara moto seMugugwa tichazara moto vanomanikidza masi zvezingati vanomanikidza povo bondinoti vanova Goreri vakamanikidza masi zvezingati vakamanikidza masi goreri vakamanikidza povo zvezingati vakamanikidza masi gonori vakamanikidza masi goreri vakamanikidza povo zvezingati vakamanikidza masi vakamanikidza povo bhera cheki vakamanikidza masi zvezingati ane vangu vakafira ere vanhu kutambudzika ozviva vakafira vanhu kutambudzika tongoga vakafira ere vanhu kutambudzika zibunji vakafira ere vanhu kutambudzika naitekere vakafira ere vanhu kutambudzika Javani vakafira ere vanhu kutambudzika Lukwavu vakafira ere vanhu kutambudzika vakanikidza masi vanhu kuzingati vanhu vakamanikidza masi bhera cheki vakamanikidza masi gonori akamanikidza masi goreri akamanikidza masi goreri anomanikidza masi jina anomanikidza masi.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Zimbabwe. Hello, Zimbabwe. How are you? Munukuzgona say Makadini Murie Zimbabwe. Alice Moyonzanga, you are the first one. How are you? Hanzi free Alan Moyo. Asifuni Bumbulu, yes, Asifuni Bumbulu. Alice Kunjani, free Cecilia Chimbiri, free Johanna Mamombe. Thank you so much. Makadini linjani mthwakazi omuhle siyahlangana njalo siku Lighthouse ChangeRadio zimile njani lapho elingabe likhona yebo lokho sihamba ngendaba kaAlan Moyo. I think abanengi sesimazi but kodwa namhlanje siliphathele umuntu ozasitshela ngoAlan Moyo. How are you viewers and listeners? Welcome to our program whereby we are in solidarity with Alan Moyo. We know he's been incarcerated. I think today is day 63, if I'm not mistaken, or day 64. And we are saying Alan Moyo is not a criminal. He must be freed as soon as possible. We are also campaigning for his funding, like the GoFundMe. We are going to give you the link. Anzi Baba Popo Gogs, free Alan Moyo now. Thank you so much. Today I am, my guest is Comrade Treasure Basopu. He's the former student of University of Zimbabwe. Ndiwo kavadzidzi vatiri kutaura nezvavo nhasi. We know that Alan Moyo he is also a student at the University of Zimbabwe. Comrade Basoko also is a passionate social and economic justice activist. He is also, listen to this one, Comrade Treasure Basoko also led the final student demonstration that toppled Robert Mugabe at the UZ in 2017. We've got a very powerful guest. How are you, Comrade Basopo, Treasure Basopo? Revolutionary greetings to you, Comrade. Can you please greet our viewers and listeners?
Revolutionary greetings, Comrade Barbara. Revolutionary salutations to those who are listening and watching this particular episode or show that you are giving to the people of Zimbabwe. And I thank you very much for having me on this particular show. Aluta continua.
Aluta. Thank you so much, Comrade Basopo. Can you please tell us who is this Alan Moyo? Because you know Alan Moyo is, I think, he's one of the people who have spent more days in the prison than any other activist, and all was quiet. We did not even hear anything about him. People didn't know him. It's only now when people are talking about Alan Moyo, ko zvatine mwana achatoorera mujere asati apiwa bail. We see some thieves, some big thieves have been given bail, and yet Alan is languishing in prison. Who is this Alan Moyo?
Alan Moyo is, like as you are saying, is a student at the University of Zimbabwe. Alan Moyo is the voice of the oppressed, the masses of our people. Alan Moyo represents the face of change that the people of Zimbabwe are calling for. He is representing a generation that Emerson Mnangagwa's generation and those who are in power are so much afraid of. He's just but a young man who is calling passionately and genuinely for change, effective change in the country of Zimbabwe. He's a young boy who is allergic to oppression, and his addressing of the people at Copacabana is not unique to him. It's just but one of the, it's actually his cause of arrest, but it's just one of those things that an oppressed people can do. He just cried to the people saying, this is the time that we must be galvanizing support amongst all of us, finding a common solution and arriving at a common convergence position. And that is what Emerson Mnangagwa's cabal, Emerson Mnangagwa's government administration does not want. So he is that particular voice.
Yes, thank you so much. I see, Comrade Treasure Basopo, you are you are now an activist, but you are a former student activist. We know my students in Zimbabwe, they are playing a very pivotal role in bringing change to this country. Can you tell us how this student activism started? Maybe you can, because some of the people they are wondering why Alan mwana mudiki aitsvagei aitei munyaya dzematongerwo enyika. Can you tell us more about this student activism? Maybe kana muchida kutangira from, we know that there were people like wana Lenmo Jongwe, wana Mutambara, wana Biti, wanani, until your days, and even now we are seeing kuti kunana Tafadzwa Ngadziore. What is it that the student activism is seeking to address? Why student activism?
Student activism is just activism, just like any other activism. I think classifying the student activism is just, but actually I think it's undermining the importance of it, because students have been citizens of a country before they were students, and they obviously and ultimately be citizens of the country after they are students. So they are just citizens of a country who are trying to point out to some of the inefficiencies in the government and administration of any particular country in any particular continent or particular region. So, I mean, being a student, being a former student activist myself, we saw and realized that we were sons and daughters of the working class. Hence, the need for us to be pushing the government to come up with the right policies and the right measures in terms of liberating an oppressed mass, our parents outside there. Because, for example, when a parent is being paid an amount which is below the poverty datum line, when your parent is part of the 80% of our impoverished people in Zimbabwe, then obviously and ultimately you are at the receiving side, or a recipient of that particular poverty, which is deliberately created by the ruling class without ruling ideas. So at the end of the day, just like Alan Moore has been doing, if you have been looking and following what he has been saying, what has made him to be arrested, he has been advocating various things. One of them, which is free education, which is enunciated and provided for by the National Constitution of the land. One of the reasons that he was talking about was the eradication of poverty in the country, which is a basic right. Clean water, which is a basic right according to the sections of a constitution within chapter 4 of the Bill of Rights. So he has been called student activists. They call for justice in the country, and so is Alan Moore and the rest of the current student leaders. I salute them.
Yes, thank you so much, Comrade Basop. Someone is asking here, Anzi, what is he studying that's affecting or interesting and scaring the cronies? That's a very interesting question. Anzi, Alan Moyo, why Alan Moyo? Why has he spent so many days in prison without even his bail case being heard?
No, well, I think it's not about what a person is studying. By the way, Alan Moore is a scientist. He's not a social scientist. I think he's an engineer studying engineering computer science somewhere there, some sophisticated mathematical stuff. But consciousness and conscience has actually led him to realize that this society that you are living in is not a just society. Therefore, I have to put aside all the mathematics that I'm studying, all the regression that I'm doing. I have to put it aside and fight with my oppressed combatants. So, like I said, Alan Moore is not representing himself. Neither is he representing his family. But he's representing, is a voice of the oppressed people and the oppressed mass. In fact, he's the face of the generation that Emerson Mnangagwa does not like. Remember, Emerson Mnangagwa is, I think, is far away above 60 something. I think he's now in his 70s. Alan Moore is just about 22 years of age. He has been on earth for the past 2 decades and an extra of 2 other years. He's a young man. He's innocent. He does not have a military. He has no political. He has no political history whereby you can say maybe he was trained in Serbia in 2002 when they were dislodging that other clown who was oppressing the people there. He was not part of the movement in 2010 that led to the Arab Spring. He's just but innocent. But Emerson Mnangagwa and the cronies and the crocs that are there, they do not want to hear people who want to change the power dynamics. Because remember, there is just a small elite establishment that is extracting, emerging, looting and milking all the state resources at the expense of the majority of our oppressed people. So they do not want to hear about that. So he's a scientist who is innocent, but he is representing a critical voice of an oppressed mass.
Exactly. He has got no gun. I don't know why they are troubling him like that. Alan Moyo has got no gun. Someone is saying here, Hans, there is value in the voice of dissent. And also someone Arguti izo Comrade Basoko, Hanzi arikunakidzwa nezvamataura kuti hanzi a ruling party without a ruling strategy. Maybe can you expand on that one? What do you mean when you say kuti hanzi a ruling party without a ruling strategy? People are going with you. Arikunakidzwa nezvamuri kutaura comrade panapa. Can you elaborate?
No, thanks. I mean, being in power is one thing, and being able to lead is another thing. Being the president is one thing, and having the presidential qualities and the presidency in you is another thing. Emerson Mnangagwa is in government. They are governors, but they do not have they don't have the people at heart. So what that means, for example, in 2017, on the 14th of November, when Emerson Mnangagwa and his cabal staged a military coup, the people of Zimbabwe, they were behind them simply because they were fed up with Robert Mugabe. And they thought anyone was going to come after Robert Mugabe was going definitely to be of material value to the lives of our people. So this is now 4 years down the line. We have given them presidents, have given them political power. But what have they done? They have failed to come up with the ideas that can transform a society. My sister, 4 years after the departure of Robert Mugabe, we must be talking of policy adjustments. For example, we must be talking and debating immigration policies in Zimbabwe. As we were as we would expect people to be flocking right now in Zimbabwe, where the country was supposed to be delivering milk and honey. People from across the region were supposed to be flocking into the country as we speak. Former farmers are supposed to be flocking into the country. The unemployment rate which you have in the country was supposed to have been eradicated, but it was supposed to be growing up because of people coming from outside of the country. But we have seen nothing of that. The country has gone worse. So what should we do under those circumstances? We are convinced that is just but a cabal which is self-centered, which looks at itself and they only want to advance their elitist interest of their particular class. But the oppressed people, an oppressed mass being run in an oppressed manner, must be able to question the status quo and say, no, this cannot continue. We now need to eradicate. We now need to dissolve the current establishment and to properly liquidate it in no certain uncertain circumstances.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Comrade Basopu. You correctly put it with the ZANU-PF is lacking strategy. We've seen there are people that have been stealing COVID funds, that have been stealing even gold. They've been stealing everything. The health delivery system is in shambles. The educational system is in shambles. Every sector is in shambles in Zimbabwe. So why are they harassing Alan Moyo when Alan Moyo is just as innocent as everyone? I listened to his speech, Comrade Basofu, and I andina kumboona anything chakashata pane speech ya Comrade Alan Moyo. Yes. Mm-hmm. It was just a straightforward a speech whereby he was conscientizing the people kuti zvino zvaoma, zvino zvashata. Saka imimi as the youth, what are you saying about, are you going to do this activism yepa social media? What are you planning? Because I know kuti even hondo yechimurenga payakatanga, this is what was happening. This is what was happening. What we are seeing now is exactly what was happening. This is exactly what led our forefathers, our fathers, our brothers to go to Rwanda. So what can you say? What, are you going to end here, or no strategy, says Anupi?
No, we are never out of strategy. I mean, we are never out of solutions and a way of getting out of this particular situation. But to start with Alan Moyo, in 2013, my sister, I think on the 16th and 17th of March, our people participated in an electoral referendum. The referendum which gave birth to a particular constitution which was later signed into law by Robert Mugabe, I think on the 22nd of May. More than 94.5% participated in that particular referendum. They voted yes for a constitution. That was immediately before an election. Why did people participate in a referendum in their numbers? Because they believe that they were signing a social contract with those who are supposed to be the governors. Now that we have a new constitution that we all participated in as citizens, including the young people, the government is now failing to respect that particular constitution. So the first responsibility of the people is the preservation of the constitution, for it is it represents the social contract that is between the people themselves and the citizens and the state, or the citizen and the governors. But when we have a government which has a propensity, a gargantuan appetite to deal away a country, to liquidate a constitution and begin to run it without laws, then the first duty of the young people is to preserve their constitution in that particular country. And how do you do that? You do them at two levels. Either you choose the violent way, or you choose the non-violent way. The violent way, we have seen it producing results. Right now, all independent African countries, most of them, they are independent because of a violent confrontation on the colonialists. In 1961, when ZANU was formed, and later on ushered independence in 1980, it is because they were not confronting the regime, they were not caressing the regime, but they were confronting it violent. All the countries, including Ghana, that got independence in 1959, it was because of that particular violence. We saw also violence producing results, like I highlighted in the Arab Spring. I think you are aware that on the 17th of December 2010, there was a young man called Mohammed Bouaziz. That man self-immolated, or he burned himself in front of a public house. And the whole nation saw it and said, this cannot end like that. We cannot lose lives. Hakuna kusiri kufa. And people began to confront that particular regime. We saw Tunisia, Egypt, countries like Yemen, Saudi Arabia, Oman, all of them having a massive confrontation of the violent regime. It worked actually that particular stage because they managed to do away with the massive leaders with the dictatorial tendencies. Gaddafi is an example. But we also saw non-violent means producing good results. I think I was talking about, I think it's in 2002 when they are doing away with the Milosevic. We also saw violent and non-violent means also producing results historically in India during the days of Mahatma Gandhi. In the 1960s, we saw non-violence also taking place with people like Martin Luther King, producing an independent America, or at least an independent up to now. So the young people must stop agonizing, but must begin to organize and choose the way that they're going to dislodge or to discharge their anger on the enemy. But as for me, I think ZANU-PF is too violent to be confronted non-violently, because non-violence has been failing to produce results for quite a long period of time. So we need to organize how violent we are going to. But we need to operate within the confines of the national constitution. Of course, like I said, I'm a constitutionalist young person. I believe in the constitution. But ZANU-PF cannot be dealt with these kids' clubs that you're approaching. That is my thinking.
Yeah. Thank you so much, leader, Comrade Basov. I don't want to call you leader because I think this is some of the titles that derail our struggles. Leader Ningi, honorable Ningi. We become so comfortable in our seats. But yeah. if I use comrade, it kuita kuti muite kunzwa kuda, you munogarwa nespirit yatongogara. Toda kuti comrade, toda kuti mutiudze nezve GoFundMe Alan. I'm seeing kuti we are going to be having these shows every day until Alan is granted bail, until justice prevails on Alan. We are going to tichataura kusvika zvanaka. And I've seen kuti there are some people who have seen it fit to fundraise even for Alan Moyo's family, because we know that in Zimbabwe things are not well. Alan Moyo is in prison. There are no masks. There are no PPEs. He's just there exposed to COVID-19. He's a young lad and a promising leader. We need to protect him by all means and all odds. So people are saying, no, let's fundraise so that Alan Moyo gets the proper PPEs, and also the family vanowana mari yekufambisa, because we know kuti zvinhu zviri kudhura kana vachienda kukoti, kana vachienda even chikafu chaicho in chikafu chemuprison it's not healthy. We know kuti kunodyiwa matemba, kana watowana matemba itori like beans risina mafuta ngori muchururu, food is not appetizing, so it's depressing. And so varoda kuti at least Alan is a hero. Let's do something for Alan. So what can you say about this GoFundMe? Can you talk about this GoFundMe?
Well, injustice anyway, my sister, is a threat to justice everywhere. I mean to say that injustice on anyone is a threat to justice on everyone. So when Alan is within the vicious teeth of the not so good but an odoriferous crocodile, what we need to do is to make sure that we stand with one of our own. Solidarity is a cornerstone of the struggles that we fight as a people. Solidarity is a key element, even nation to nation solidarity. What made Zimbabwe to be independent in 1980 is because Mozambique had already gained independence in 1975. But Samora Machel said that Mozambique is not independent until Zimbabwe is independent. The same words which were said by Kwame Nkrumah in 1959 and said Ghana is not independent until the rest of Africa is independent. So I cannot say I'm independent, I'm not imprisoned when my brother Alan Moyo is imprisoned. It so applies to even our listeners. They cannot say they are outside of prison when Alan Moore is imprisoned, when last Mayenga Hama is imprisoned, and all other political prisoners, Joanna Mamombe, Cecilia Chimbiri, all those comrades. But with regard to this particular, we say it is important if we can contribute towards the welfare of each other as citizens, because Alan Moyo is surely within a precarious position. If you listened to what his brother was saying yesterday on the interview, it was really sad. When a parent almost cries in front of cameras because he has not been having his kid since the 6th of December, because of the deliberate moves by Emerson Mnangagwa, because of the deliberate moves of General Chiwenga and Kembo Mohad, who do not want to leave political power. So, comrades, let us stand together. Comrades, let's support us during these difficult times. For it's not everyone who can contribute equally, but the little that we have, even if you have your money, $1, even if you have a tax shop, can send Maputi, contribute towards the welfare of each other. It is important because you are because I am, and I am because you are. That is what Ubuntu tells us. The sophisticated African philosophy. We are because I am Jandiri Negutiri. So Alan Ari Zwari Negutiri Neguti Alan Dozari. Because he's been fighting for justice. He's not fighting for beer to be cheap. Neither is he fighting for the government to provide free cigarettes. But he's fighting for free water. And not for free water, but for clean water in the country. Fighting for good roads, fighting for the welfare of our children and the future of the same. So that is what I would like to say.
Yes. Thank you so much, Comrade Basopa. I don't know whether I'm clear. Someone was trying to phone me and it disturbed this stream. Anzi na Malvin da Chengedzwa. They are only doing this to him so that he will be an example to all the conscious youth who want a just society, respect of the law, quality education, and accessible. Alan is innocent. If he is a criminal, why they don't give him a trial? Anzi ngawa mupe trial kakana ari criminal, because everyone has got a right to a fair hearing. No hearing, nothing. And we know Ampuri side they are good at arresting so that they investigate. They don't investigate to arrest, but they arrest to investigate, which is absurd, which is very, very, very unfair. Hanzi treasure Basobo chibabanda bvuma hangu pane vanhu vari kunakiswa panapa. Hanzi well articulated, Comrade Basobo. I must say, I must also agree that you are articulating these issues very well, because we wanted to raise awareness. Most people were asking, can't Alan wacho anomboita nezvei? Who is this Alan? Nekuti akaitei, people didn't even know until we had to find that video where he was addressing people at Copacabana. And when I listened to it, honestly, I didn't find anything that was wrong with that video, with that address that he did. I'm seeing a promising leader in Alan. I'm seeing a Pikinini Tongogara in Alan. He is very, very brave. And we want to thank all the youth that are standing in solidarity with Alan. We want to thank everyone who is standing in solidarity with Alan. We are saying, I am Alan. We are Alan. As you rightfully said, Ubuntu is I am because we are. So injure one, injure all. An injury to one is an injury to all. So we are all Alan. This is our new hashtag. We are Alan. I am Alan. As from today, hashtag free Alan. I am Alan. We are Alan. That's Ubuntu. Ndo Ubuntu watinoziva, kwete Ubuntu wayo kuti anzi ticheme mbavha. Kuchema mbavha. Mbavha haichememi. Mbavha kana yafa vanhu vanopururudza, because musi wacho newo vanorara hope dzerusvawa. Comrade Basopa, tichipedzesa, what do you want to say? I know you are saying you are a former student activist, but in I see you are still an activist, a student activist, but now you are abroad and you furthering your education, but you are still in this war. You are still in this struggle of trying to liberate Zimbabwe. What are your last words before we end this program?
No, it's okay. I'm a former activist with Zimbabwe. But here I'm also, when I came here last year, I campaigned to be in the parliament at Oslo Metropolitan University, and I'm part of the student parliament there at my university. So, fighting for justice, fighting for goodness and inclusion is never a struggle that comes to an end. But I would like to say that I respect the Constitution fundamentally, and it bleeds my heart when I see the Constitution of this country, Section 69, subsection 2, being violated excessively. A person has a right to a fair trial, but it must be speed too. But we can't be talking about speed when a person has been arrested since December of 6, and that is continuously happening. And unfortunately, that is happening in the face of a population of more than 16 million citizens who are within the country. And we have come up to a point of normalizing that. And we have normalized so many injustices also being done by Emerson. They shot our people on the 1st of August 2018. They shot some more extra people on the 15th and the 16th of January in the following year. And it's unfortunate, that's absurd, but that is happening. I think, like I was saying, the struggle continues. The struggle in Zimbabwe is our struggle. Just like what Samora Machel would say, I like Samora Machel. When he said, when the bullets begin to shower and flower, the struggle continues. So we must continue fighting, comrades. We must not cease to fight. For fighting, Zinasu says, freedom is our birthright. So, I mean, we must continue fighting, and we must also begin to organize and stop agonizing. We must confront the violent dictator in the language that they understand. If Emerson Mnangagwa understands violence, then probably you have to approach him as such, because I can't speak to you in English when you can't hear English. I can't speak to you in Ndebele when you can't hear Ndebele. So we need to get power when it comes to the languages. But Aluta, continue. The struggle must continue. Vinceremos Moi.
Thank you so much, Comrade Basopo. We could go on and on and on. Hans Newamwe, Hans, if you don't want, Hans ED, if you don't want to go peacefully, and you go pandemically, Hans, what kind of pandemically?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Aywa, thank you so much, our viewers and listeners. Thank you so much for your feedback. We really value you, Makati Koshera, and we are saying, good, let's donate to Alan Moyo. The parents, they need money. We know the situation that is in Zimbabwe. Please, we want to buy Alan Moyo his PPEs. Ndofunga murungo mona COVID yakarura mumajere. People are dying, but they are not telling us. But tell you what, people are dying in prisons because of COVID-19. We want to make sure that Alan is protected. We want to make sure that Alan is well. We want to make sure that Alan eats well. We want to give him a decent living. Leader Comrade Basop, if you look at Mamema prisons, just look at UK, go to South Africa and see how the prisons are like. You see even the dressing, even watch one smart, one watch TV, one say they've got all sorts of things. The Panorara is dignified, everything is just on point. So it's also we are saying, but if Zimbabwe fails to provide that, if the government fails to provide that, Isusu will provide that for Alan Moyo. Alan Moyo must not die of COVID. We are declaring and decreeing that Alan Moyo will not die of COVID. Even Wana Joanna Mamombe na Cecilia. Namsa, today we are focusing on Alan Moyo, and we know that Cecilia Chimbiri and Joanna Mamombe, they are still in, but you also do their own. But today we said we want to focus on Alan Moyo, so that we give him a decent living. This is what he's been fighting for, and we want to see. And let's support Chief Zokora. How are you, my comrade? And let's support Alan. This boy has suffered enough. We supported the trio. We supported Jacob and Job. Why not Alan? This is very powerful from Chief Sose. And then someone is saying, if you keep quiet about the lies of COVID-19 and the distraction of the economy, we don't want you to speak to us. Lies. And we are happy to even Comrade Mfadzai Mahere, when she came out, she was brave to tell us kuti zvakamira sei, and when she tested positive for for COVID-19, she did not hide. She came out in the open and told the people that she tested positive and she's isolating, but she's well. And now Leader Mahere is well, and I think she'll be back to work very soon. Let me thank you. Thank you so much, Comrade Basopo. It was a pleasure having you here on Lighthouse. This is gonna be streamed again or on ChangeRadio and ZimI. Thank you so much. My crew behind the scene, Comrade Albert Mpofu, thank you so much for being there for us. Goodbye, Zimbabwe. Lihlale kuhle, mthwakazi omuhle, musare zvakanaka, wadiwa vatariri nevatereri. Aluta, continua.
Aluta, continua. Omoi.
Thank you so much.
Sure.